Okay, we're back, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Daniel Duncan Show. Um, Daniel, we just watched the conclusion of the NBA Finals.
Yep.
So we are going to react to that today. Um, and yeah, so let's just jump into things. The Boston Celtics just won the NBA Finals. Dan, what's your
Let's
initial?
go. Let's go, man. 18th championship record title. The best team in the league. They just showed it all year long, resilient power, and they just took care of business tonight. And they are the NBA champion. The greatest feeling in the world is being the champion. They'll never take it from you ever. And they just went out there and physically manhandled Dallas all throughout this game.
Yeah, this series, in retrospect, wasn't really, it was very one-sided. Didn't really get the greatest matchup that we could have received. Obviously, injuries and things like that happened. But yeah, like you said, just the best team in the league. This team definitely stacks up against quite a few previous NBA championship teams. Um,
Yeah,
and yeah, there was a lot of times, at least in the third quarter, that the Mavericks could have found a way to claw back. It got
yeah,
very, I know Boston went on quite a few runs to close out the half and then into the third quarter, but the second half was really dead. A lot of teams just chucking up, or excuse, just chucking up a lot of bad shots that wouldn't go in, and so really disappointing that the Mavericks weren't ever able to put together a good run. But it was really hard to, after that first half with um this guy,
oh yeah,
putting
the
up
organ boy.
the buzzer beater at the half. Talk about a momentum.
I
Talk about momentum and what he did this, what, game one or game two as well.
mean, I believe it was game one that he hit the buzzer beater towards the end of the quarter. I mean, that dude coming out of nowhere and doing that again sparked that team right off the bat again. And, just showing that power, the resilience of, not getting off course a little bit, maintaining their leads, and just like overpowering Dallas. That was the main key factor in every game this series.
Yeah, just even outside of game four, the last game, which was just a
Yeah.
big fluke, and just I mean the teams looked very tired this game, definitely in the second half. But yeah, just anytime Dallas had any sort of momentum, it was quickly erased. Jason Tatum had a very good all-around game,
Oh yeah.
especially the first half. I think what him and Brown combined for 17 or so assists. So
Yep.
just like we've been talking about, it's not just one guy on that team. There's a new guy every single day or every single game, and the roles are constantly changing. As much as Jason Tatum maybe didn't have the greatest offensive performance,
Yep.
I think it shows for him to be able to change his role and be more of a facilitator or wait to let the shots come to him. Um, I think that speaks a lot of volumes, and I think a lot of players would get very easily discouraged by that. But as a collective, just what an amazing team.
Great team all around, and give credit to their ownership and Brad Stevens, the
Right.
former coach,
Yeah.
the architect of the basketball operations, going out there and getting guys like Derek White, uh, KP, Kristaps Porzingis,
Hmm.
Drew Holiday, just building his team with guys that he can count on every step of the way. And this was a team that every like the last few years and even in the early like 2010s, they would get close to this point. They would get so close
Right.
to this moment, to a championship moment, and just not come up with the end result, which was an NBA championship. And the Lakers, they ended up getting 17 during the bubble, which was a fluke. And now this time around, the Celtics, the historic franchise, the ones that started it with Red Auerbach, Bill Russell, Bob Cousy, Havlicek, all those great Celtics, Sam Jones, KC Jones. I mean, it was just amazing to see them come out there and put everything together.
Yeah, and it's also really fun to think about like going back to when they won their last championship. What are you watching?
I just saw the trophy. Tatum had it in his
Really?
hand on my TV screen. Yeah,
Let's go.
yeah,
Uh, but yeah, okay, let's focus on Tatum again real quick. He has been very much just scrutiny in the media with just what he can handle or that, he isn't capable of doing things by himself or people saying, he has to win a finals MVP to really
yeah.
become within like the top three conversation. But hey, he's a winner now, and like you said, with a championship, that's something that nobody can ever take from you.
Hmm.
But yeah, do you think, regardless of the fact that he didn't win the finals MVP, do you think that you know, ruins his legacy in any way, or do you think he's gonna continue to climb?
I think he'll continue to climb each year. It's the same thing with Steph Curry when he won his first Finals MVP a few years ago when they beat Boston. Yeah, I mean, he's a great player. He's waited all of his career to win a championship with Jalen Brown. But
Hmm.
I feel like Brown was the key guy to win the MVP. He
Hmm.
was like defensively getting in on Kyrie,
Right.
Luca. I mean, it was just like every matchup he won, and he would always, end up with the ball. And then when they set their offense up the floor, I mean, it's just amazing to see what he did. But I think Tatum's fine. I just feel like I'm just not a fan of like the media saying, "Oh, you got to win the Finals MVP right away." It's like,
Right.
no, you win the championship first, and then you can see if you can win at least one or two during your career.
Yeah, like you're talking about with Brown, man. Um, Going back to like I was saying with the last time they won a championship with that core group that they had of Rondo, Garnett, Pierce, Allen,
Yeah.
not Kendrick Perkins. Uh,
No.
but dude, the Brooklyn Nets really traded like 3 years worth of draft picks for Pierce and Garnett. Who
Yeah.
did Boston take with the, because like you said, they have been so close for years ever since that team dismantled. And it's not like the Boston Celtics to be in the lottery picks, you know, relying on drafting a, top five, top 10 pick to help their team. So for the Brooklyn Nets to trade them back to back year, number two, number three picks, um, to end up getting Tatum and Brown back to back. Um, so in many ways, this championship you have to thank not only the Brooklyn Nets, but Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett for being worth, you know,
Yeah.
years of draft picks. And so yeah, and there are many teams that took some very questionable players after them. So just the Boston Celtics are like you're talking about with Brad Stevens, who transitioned into a front office role, just a
Yep.
master class at basketball organization and running a team, drafting players. Um, Yeah, and gosh, I know it's just killing Milwaukee Buck fans watching Drew Holiday get another championship.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that, man. I mean, you saw Holiday out there on the floor, man. And and what he did, he could have easily been the MVP. There were talks of him being crowned the MVP for his performance in the first couple of games, but I felt like before the season began, before the series began, excuse me, the playoff series began, it was the main man defensively. It was going to be a Holiday or Brown. It was either going to be one of those guys.
Yeah, so um I guess let's transition to Dallas then. Um Dallas got exposed quite a bit in the finals as obviously the Celtics in their own right, in their own respect, in the way that they matched up defensively is top notch. But boy, it was really hard watching Luca this series.
Oh God, yeah,
Just it's so hard to, at least for me, to really see what he meshes well with. Like, what does he need? Like, the game revolves around him, and that, as much as he's gonna put up that triple double, it's just the defense. He is the best passer in the league. Obviously, I think that series showed us the way he's able to finagle and fit the ball through holes. But just because of him being that center core piece who's always needing the ball, always needing to have the touches, it's easy for defenses to shift their focus to that and then go from there.
yeah,
It's easier to um, adapt from that. So I don't really know where they go from here. If Kyrie, who had a very uh, disappointing series,
yep,
it's hard to know where they go from here and how to really bring out the best of Luca, because I don't think, as much as Kyrie is an option as well to bring the ball up, I just, he has the ball. I don't, and his athleticism not really being able to work off ball as well. It's just,
yeah.
what do you think about the future of the team and Luka Doncic?
This ownership, I mean, it really needs to take a hard, deep look at this roster. I'm not a huge fan of Kyrie and Luca together. I'm not a huge fan of having young guys like I mean they're G League player development players
Right.
like Exum. Um,
Yeah.
but I mean it's like they really need to take a hard look at that roster, make a couple key moves, a couple key additions, because Luca just needs the best like dynamic duo player, kind of like kind of like when Jordan had Pippen, Kobe had Shaq, LeBron had Dwayne Wade. Like it's got to be something like that, like Penny and Shaq in the old Orlando days. Like they need to find someone who can mesh with Luca and someone that can just be the main, dynamic duo, part two man player type of thing.
Yeah. It's just, Kyrie being that in many ways, and it just doesn't work well. It's hard to, Luca being so versatile is almost like yeah, I don't know. It's so hard to figure out what works well. And I think there's a lot of players in the NBA that's the case. But, um, obviously Boston has shown that, multiple stars, you're able to, Golden State throughout the
Yep.
years. But, so yeah, obviously, for teams like Milwaukee Bucks with Giannis and what he
Dame.
had to add, Dame didn't work. So,
Mm-mm.
um, it'll be interesting to see where it goes. I think we'll have a lot to talk about as far as potential trade pieces. Um, it definitely it's hard. consider, with teams getting all the stars in the building, there's only so much money to pay. And um, so yeah, like we'll see what they do, but there's clearly the level of competition was just incredible from compared to Boston to Dallas. So yeah,
Yeah.
is there anybody in mind that you or any direction that do you think they need a trade for somebody or wait for free agency to open?
I think they need to wait for the free agent market to open. It's just Luca and Kyrie did not mesh well together during this NBA Finals. You saw the hot and cold scenario moments where when Kyrie came back to Boston, they got on him seriously. He
Mhm.
couldn't perform well enough. So, I mean, in Dallas, it was the opposite. He performed well in Dallas, but when he went back, he just got completely hosed and heckled. But I mean, they really need to wait till the free agent market opens up, see what's available. Um, Detail oriented, the front office, the people just need to look on paper what key pieces they need to put in there.
Right, like you said, you can't have freaking Dante Exum rolling out in the NBA
Yeah.
Finals. Like, respect to him as a player, but gosh, so many Derek Jones Jr. Like Derek
Oh,
Jones
yeah.
Jr. has no business, being you know, a starter playing 30 plus minutes in the NBA Finals. So,
He'd rather be with the Charlotte Hornets or the Atlanta Hawks. He'd rather
yeah,
be on one of those
yeah.
teams.
How about, yeah, Grant Williams, former Celtic and Maverick. He's
Yeah.
probably drinking his sorrows away tonight.
Yeah, he probably is. I know Kuzma's out there, but I don't know if
Kuzma.
anyone wants to take a chance on him.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. It'll be interesting also, Brooklyn Nets, Mikal Bridges. I'd
Yeah,
love to see him in a new uniform this year. Atlanta Hawk. That's another thing, dude. NBA draft is probably what, a week and a half or so away.
it's the
Um,
26th and the 27th.
so yeah, less than that. I guess we could talk a little bit about that because we don't have to go into prospects or anything, but
Yeah,
what we can talk about is Atlanta Hawks have the number one pick, dude. They did not think they were going to have it. Nobody else did.
yep,
And similar to Kyrie and Luca this year, they found out that Murray and Trey Young just don't, they were better team when one of the two was hurt. So,
yeah.
you got the number one pick this year. There isn't really a specific guy that we know is going number one.
Excuse
So,
me.
do you think that potentially the Atlanta Hawks, could you see them shipping off one of their two stars?
Yeah, because it really hasn't, meshed. It hasn't gelled together in the terms of the tenure between both of those players on the same team together. I believe that that organization and the front office there in Atlanta would love to go into a different direction. They would love to get some new talent in there, rebuild and restructure the franchise, and just get going. And they haven't had a winning season in quite some time.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah, no, Trey Young, I think he's been better than a lot of people thought maybe going into the league. Uh, he in many ways was one of the first kind of, along with the Ball brothers and obviously other people,
yeah,
just kind of this internet class where you see all of this, but translating to the league, and he's been able to do that. But obviously he's not really that great of a defensive asset, but
right.
yeah, he's a guy that I'd love to see on a different team or paired up somewhere else. So it'll be interesting to see next week, or 26th, 27th. See what they do. Whether it's trading a star, trading the number one pick.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, NBA draft, that'll be something we'll have to talk about here soon in another episode.
Yeah, I don't know a lot of those prospects, but I
Right.
know that
Yeah.
the college guys that I saw during
Oh
March
yeah.
Madness, Dillingham, Edie,
Yep.
there's there's those guys from France that I keep hearing
Yeah.
about.
Yeah. A lot of new Frenchmen coming into the league and taking it over.
Wenbenyama started it, so
That's right.
you know,
Yeah. Definitely not as hype as or from last year for sure.
yeah.
But yeah, is there anything else you'd want to say as this NBA season concludes and the Boston Celtics
Uh,
hoist the trophy?
I was just so excited to finally see this. Last year, I did not get to witness the final game of Denver and Miami. So, as a fan, I was just like, I need to tune in. If it ends up happening tonight for the Boston Celtics, I'll witness it. I mean, it's just the greatest feeling in the world is when you win a championship. That's on your resume, and Tatum and Brown respectively deserve that throughout the hardcore years of them trying to get to the pedestal, the
Hmm.
mountaintop, and just getting there. And so I respect those two guys for getting there and what Boston had to do to restructure and revitalize that team and just get to that point.
Yeah, man. They're gonna be hard to beat next year.
Yep.
Definitely
Vegas odds. Let's
Vegas,
see them.
Vegas odds. Let's see real quick
Let's do
before
it.
we close out. Um, Celtics plus 280 odds.
280 for next year.
Yep.
Hopefully, I'm
Next
in
next
Vegas.
team is the Timberwolves plus 850.
I agree with that one because that
Or
was one of the teams
excuse me,
originally.
Denver plus 700, my bad.
Denver. Okay.
Yes.
Denver and Minnesota teams for next year that would totally try and get back. And Minnesota easily, I thought they would be in the finals, but they have a tough team next year to just,
Yeah.
get there at least.
Yeah. NBA, dude, like you said, there isn't a league like it. And of oftentimes there isn't any off season like it. Always just it's the most entertaining off season ever. There's so many trades going around. So um similarly to the NFL, the NBA never stops. And we were
Yeah.
glad to cover the finals here for you guys. And but yeah, that's been another episode of the Daniel Duncan Show. We will
Yes,
see you
sir.
guys later. We will have more than basketball to talk about, except obviously, the NBA draft is coming up. So it'll be
Yeah.
coming back. But Dan,
Seattle Mariners red hot. Take a look at their record, man.
yep. That'll be something we talk about next.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace.